Hello everyone, welcome to the Perseverance IAS. Today is July 18, 2021. It's a Sunday. I know everybody's taking a break, but nonetheless, we cannot escape the Hindu newspaper at any point of time during our preparation. So, what are the articles to be read on Hindu? Hindu on Sunday is a special edition. As we know, we don't have editorials, we have a FAQ and so on and so forth. Without any further delay, let us dive into the newspaper itself. The first article that I would suggest you to read is Taliban won battles, we will win the war, Ghani. See, remember, whatever is happening in Taliban may or may not have a direct implication on India or internal security, but nonetheless, this is a developing story. And I want you to have a perfect timeline of events in Afghanistan. That is why I have been focusing on any article that is related to Taliban, because remember, UPSC has this ability to bring out questions from nowhere. That is why we have to cover every topic. I humbly suggest you read this from that perspective. You create a timeline of events, what is happening in Taliban in regards to Taliban in Afghanistan. Now, moving on to the next article, Uttar Pradesh cancels annual Kanwar Yatra. From the cultural perspective, I want to read what Kanwar Yatra is and how significant it is and what are the regions where this Yatra takes place. Please do remember, this is from the cultural point of view for prelims. Now, moving on to the next article, SC with people to protect civil liberties, CJ Ramana. Now, recently, our esteemed Chief Justice of India has been making a lot of statements in regards to various laws in India, and this is in significance to his stance that civil liberties are being trampled. Again, you have to read this article from that perspective as to what the judiciary thinks, since he occupies the highest post in Indian judiciary. So, for awareness sake, I humbly suggest you read this article. So, these are the three important articles that I would like you to read in the first page. That is, now moving on to page number 6, news. Again, I would like you to read this article, concerns remain over anti-trafficking bill. See, remember, anytime a bill is being discussed or debated, first thing you have to read is what is the basis upon which this bill is being drafted or proposed. What are the prior bills? So you know the past, now you know the present. You know the present in terms of what is this bill, who is proposing it, what is the background of it, which was the during which point that the need for this bill has arose. From that point of view, please do read this article, because remember, human trafficking is a huge issue in India, particularly in the form of illegal migrants crossing border into India. From that perspective, please do read this article. Now moving on to page number 7, again interview from the Afghan president himself, Ashraf Ghani. Please do read this to understand their point of view. Again, his interview becomes a significance with the current situation in Afghanistan. Please do allocate time. Now, independent defense policy in place now, claims Amit Shah. Again, you read what the government is thinking in terms of what are their achievements and so on and so forth. I don't see much of importance from the prelims perspective, but what you'll get update is the border fencing thing that they talk about in this article, and also the infrastructure buildup that is happening in border areas. That is what you will get. That is what the update you will get from this article, and I would like you to read this article from that perspective. Now moving on to page number 8, vaccine procurement rates revised. This is just an information point of view article, and I would suggest you read it from that perspective only. Nothing important in the sense that nobody asks what would be the price of, let us say, the Pfizer vaccine in India in either prelims or mains. So moving on, live streaming court proceedings is key, CJI. What are they talking about here? What is the challenges involved in live streaming courts? What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? See, Indian judiciary suffers from some problems in terms of transparency. Would this increase the transparency? That's why, from that point of view, this is a possible anecdote in an answer in mains as a possible solution to how to increase transparency in Indian judiciary, how to increase access of Indian judiciary to common people. From that perspective, please do read this article. Now, I want you to concentrate on the picture here. So this is happening in Srinagar. They are talking about an occasion that happens every year, and this is the 656th urs of this masjid that takes place. And I suggest you read a little bit of cultural aspect about this. Just because Jammu and Kashmir, or the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, has been in popular discourse for the last 1 year, significantly so, with the renewed interest in delimitation process, with the renewed interest in restoration of statehood, and with the renewed interest in conducting of democratic elections there. So that is why this picture becomes a little bit of significant in terms of cultural for prelims point of view. Please do a little bit of reading about what this thing that is happening in the picture. Now moving on, page number 9, world. Correct the course, Nasheed tells Soli. Now, Mr. Nasheed has been one of the significant partners, in regional partners, in terms of helping India secure its regional security. His words mean a lot in terms of foreign policy. That is why read to understand what is happening internally in Maldives. Now, remember, Maldives is currently having a president or a prime minister that is close to India, but not as close as Mr. Nasheed was. His voice carry a lot of value in terms of what the actual situation is and what is the problem with current Maldivian government. Okay, please do concentrate on this article. Now moving on, US, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Uzbekistan to form a quad grouping. What is this quad grouping? Why are they forming it? And why India is not a part of this quad grouping? From that perspective, please do read this article. So before we go into this, there is already a quad existing in regards to Afghanistan. Please forgive me, I forgot the name, but do a little bit of research that talks about a quad already existing in Afghanistan. Okay, if possible, I'll leave the name in the comments when I find out the name, but please do a little bit of research about what is the quad that is already in existence in regards to Afghanistan. Okay. Now, moving on, Afghan ambassador's daughter abducted, assaulted in Pakistan. This is a grave escalation of the Vienna Accords or whatever it is, but nobody touches the families or the diplomats in a country. Again, the Vienna Accords come into play where the diplomatic security of diplomats of foreign countries are ensured. This is a grave escalation of that. Please do read it from that perspective where you talk about the international standards and what this means. Okay, not important, but information ke liye, for information sake. Now moving on, Biden grapples with pandemic of unvaccinated. See, vaccine hesitancy is not only the problem of our country. Vaccine hesitancy has its roots deep in other countries too, but they have different names for it. For example, in US they have this movement called anti-vaxxer movement. So I want you to read two different or three more perspectives as to or three different forms of or two different forms of vaccine hesitancy in other parts of the world, so that you give a balanced answer stating that vaccine hesitancy is not only limited to India, but it's an worldwide problem. Now, moving on, Dreamers program is illegal, US court rules. What is this Dreamers program? How it impacts Indians? How advantageous is it to Indians? From that perspective, read these articles. Now, South Africans clean up after deadly unrest. Again, what is happening in South Africa? From that perspective, please do read it. Not important for pretty much anything, I think. Moving on to page number 10, science and technology, COVID-19 vaccination safe for pregnant women. Very important, very, 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 very important. Please do read it. Please do make notes. Please do try to understand what this means for Indian vaccination drive. Okay. Now moving on, AI tool developed to study cancer causing mutations. Again, important to understand this cancer disclosure and possible ways to use artificial intelligence in treating medicines and deploying artificial intelligence to treat diseases in India where manpower is low. That would be one possible way to address acute shortage of doctors in India, using of artificial intelligence, using of artificial augmented reality using of virtual reality to treat patients in areas where doctors cannot travel. That would be one way solution to address the shortage of doctors in India. From that perspective, please do read this article. Now moving on, rare Arctic lightning storms strike north of Alaska. What is this phenomenon? What is the science behind this phenomenon from that perspective? And mind you, is there any link with this phenomenon with the global warming phenomenon? That is the link that you have to find out, because this would be a very beautiful example to give as a possible side effect of global warming, which would be unique to your answer. This would attract the evaluators' attention, because this is not something everybody writes. Would be unique. So try to find if there is any link with global warming and this phenomenon, okay? For mains, not prelims, I don't think so. Now moving on to page number 11, is Twitter acceding to takedown request? What is this takedown request? How India fares in this takedown request? What is the need for takedown resistance, and how this is related to ID rules of 2021? Now moving on, I suggest you skip everything. Okay, economy, I don't think there is anything. Ball in RBI court on lifting ban, I don't think there is much in this. But nonetheless, these are the important articles that I would suggest you to read in the newspaper for Sunday, that is July 18th, 2021. Thank you. Before you go, I request you to share this video with your fellow travelers for your competitive exams, not only UPSC, any other examination. Please do like the video, share the video, comment on the video, give me your feedback, give me new ideas to create new videos, and also leave a thumbs up, because this would certainly help the channel to grow a bit, and I would like my videos to reach many more people to help them. And thank you for listening. This has been Perseverance IAS. Namaste, stay safe.